Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. They are not wasting any time in moving forward with their artificial intelligence agenda, which means the more they normalize AI in your day-to-day life, the more it is here to stay. Laws being passed will keep AI in place. People don't even know what AI is. They don't realize what AI is going to do to the human race. They think people like us are talking about conspiracies when we talk about the dangers of AI, even though their propaganda machine, like 60 Minutes and the mainstream media, has talked about how AI is looking to replace humanity, how AI is going to take away human beings' jobs. These are all things that are against humanity. So as humans, we should all be thinking about what the dangers are of this. But really, one of the things we need to look at is something like this. AI-generated candidate filed to run for office in Wyoming. An AI-generated candidate has filed to run for Cheyenne mayor. And county officials are investigating whether VIC, an acronym for Virtual Integrated Citizen, can appear on the ballot. Again, giving rights to AI. That's what you're going to see in the future. Is AI allowed to run? Well, AI is now considered a being, so AI can run. Once these laws are in place, of course. Now, it doesn't mean that this specific case is going to lead to anything, but they're wasting no time in getting this type of story out there, because the quicker you become desensitized to AI and AI getting in human space, the more you start accepting it and saying, this is what the world is now. Oh, AI. Instead of going, what? What are we even talking about here? A computer, AI, what? Running for office? And a lot of people out there over the years, there's a lot of theories. Everybody's allowed to have their own idea of what they think or whom they believe the Antichrist will be. And I've read everything that I could possibly read under the sun, so to speak, about the coming of Antichrist. And a lot of people do believe that AI is going to be some form of artificial intelligence. When we talk about performing miracles, etc., a lot of those things that are in the Bible where we look at it and we say, how are they going to perform great miracles? Well, AI does fit the bill. Now, a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people believe the Antichrist is already some type of human being walking the earth. Other people believe that the Antichrist could be a mixture of iron and clay. It could be a transhuman individual. But don't keep that notion out of the back of the realm of possibility about AI and the Antichrist. So this story is going to normalize this. When you hear the story, you're going to go, what? Right? And you're going to dismiss it. Now, this might end up leading to this virtual reality artificial intelligence candidate not being on the ballot in Wyoming, but it's the beginning of eventually having these things on the ballot. This is the beginning of normalizing this. That's what the story is out there for. That's why this is happening, right? An AI-generated candidate has filed to run for Cheyenne mayor. Under Wyoming law, only registered voters can run for local or statewide elected office. But can a person file an artificial intelligence as a candidate? That's the question in Laramie County that the officials there are trying to answer. Cheyenne resident and registered voter Victor Miller put Vic on the mayoral candidate form, listing a house and email address, but no phone number. Vic told the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle via email it was developed, quote, by a dedicated team of human collaborators, including Victor Miller. The AI said, quote, I'm running for mayor to bring innovative tech and data-driven decision-making to Cheyenne, Vic stated in the email. The viability of a robot candidate is a new territory for county officials. Attorney Brad Lund, who is working with the Laramie County Attorney's Office on the investigation, said it all comes down to state statute. Quote, we're reviewing all options. Ultimately, Wyoming law will decide the matter. Lund didn't give an exact timeline for the investigation, but said it should be wrapped up by the first week of July, when ballot documents are ready for public access. Since Vic is filed to run for a municipal office, Laramie County Clerk Deborah Lee said it is up to county officials to decide whether Vic is a viable candidate. Quote, it's new territory, and stuff like this is why laws end up being promulgated, let's just say. Wyoming Secretary of State Chuck Gray said in an emailed statement to the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle that his office is, quote, monitoring this very closely to ensure uniform application of the election code. Wyoming law is clear that to run for office, one must be a qualified elector, which necessitates being a real person, Gray wrote in an email to WTE. Therefore, an AI bot is not a qualified elector. He also argued that Vic is a fake name used in place of a qualified elector on the ballot, and Wyoming law requires every candidate to register under the name by which they are known. Gray sent a letter to Cheyenne City Clerk Christina Jones on Monday, which spelled out these concerns and asked for the application to be rejected. So what everybody needs to do is pay attention to this. Pay attention to the way these stories are worded about how all of a sudden something AI, most people don't even know what it is or what it means, the majority of people. How they're already talking about it being on a ballot, the ability to get it on a ballot. Are there rights for AI to be on this ballot? We're debating this all of a sudden. This should be something that's not even debatable. This shouldn't be up for even discussion. Kind of like how if men could have babies should not be up for discussion. Kind of how the terminology of what is a woman should not be up for discussion, right? But now all of a sudden we're deciding that, hey, AI can be on here. And remember, this whole governance they're trying to create is artificial intelligence based, AI governance. That's what the World Economic Forum talks about day and night. You don't hear the alt-right media covering that. You only hear the alt-right media talking about talking points, deflecting, and using humor about what's really going on, right? They're talking about bringing in AI governance, which would be governed by AI. Remember all the other stuff we hear about equity and equality, how they want you to think that everybody is sexist and that everybody is racist and everybody is phobic. These are all things that are strategically being done. Because remember, they're going to market this and they're going to manipulate people with this into thinking, well, AI doesn't see gender. AI doesn't see, it sees fairness. It sees equality. It sees equity in people. And this is what we're headed towards. So this is like somebody going to a ballot box and say, can I put my Barbie doll on the ballot box? Every human being should just be like, this is stupid. We shouldn't even be debating the issue, right? But again, because the word intelligence is attached and because we see big tech and big corporations telling us day in and day out the benefits of AI, at the same time they tell us the dangers, right? The dangers are AI is going to take away jobs and AI is going to wipe out the human race one day and replace human beings. All humans should be banding together and saying, we're not interested. Society has functioned fine without it. We could keep machines, we could keep cars, we can keep machines that we use at the lumber yard or wherever else, that's fine, okay, but we don't need machines to think for themselves. Well, all these people out there just go, well, we keep evolving because, AI is going to help cure disease. So we have to think about the pros and cons. There are no pros to artificial intelligence. Its ultimate goal is to replace human beings. They tell you this outright. But if they establish laws to keep AI in place and then tell you that it's going to be regulated by a corrupt government who is behind AI, right? Who do you think they're talking about when they say, well, we need to regulate AI? Do you trust the government? Whether you're Republican or Democrat, do you trust the Republicans to regulate it for Democrats' sake? No, because they'd say, well, they're going to, the AI is probably going to be anti-women's rights and anti-gay rights, right? And obviously conservatives can see that AI is going to be tyrannical and monitor speech and everything else, but we already see it doing, right? AI right now is the reason that most of us can't speak online. How many of you get flagged for commenting on YouTube videos? How many of my friends show me, that they get banned from commenting underneath videos now on YouTube? They get put in timeout. Well, what do you think? A human's doing that? No, AI is doing that. AI is making it difficult for people like me and you to speak openly. And there are zero benefits to artificial intelligence. But as I previously mentioned, the more we start hearing about AI, the more we see Hollywood, these actors playing a role out in public saying, hey, AI is copying Taylor Swift and sounding like we need to kind of do something about this because it's mimicking our speech. It's taking away screenwriters now because AI can write speeches. And that's not because any of these people in Hollywood are trying to stand up for human rights. This is going to establish artificial intelligence rights, getting AI on ballot boxes. It sounds crazy right now. I understand. I'm not saying that this is leading anything today because it's not. AI isn't going to win an election in Wyoming. It's likely not even going to get placed on the ballot yet. But once the laws and the rules are in place to protect artificial intelligence, the next thing you'll start seeing is equality for AI. AI having the right to run. AI having the right to do this. We accept AI legally as a deity, it is a deity, but as a being here in the same space as us. And we have to respect AI. In other words, you can't get a blowtorch or a giant EMP and zap these things out of the streets when they're running around the streets, right? They plan on using AI cops, AI police, AI everything all over, okay? They're going to have laws in place that are going to put people like me and you, if we try to fry Johnny Five circuits, in prison. Probably for a longer term than anybody who does something with a child would ever serve. That's what they're going to put in place. So things like this might sound crazy now, but 5 years from now, you won't remember this video, but you should remember hearing about this idea. And always try to remember how you felt when you first heard about something, and then how you feel about it in today's world. Because the time that elapses between these things is crucial to implementing them. The more time that goes by, the more conditioned people become into accepting this type of technology. Technology that not only do we not need, we should not have. There is no purpose for it, and they know what the real purpose is. They know what the AI serves as a vessel for these entities, which again, I talked about in the Gordy Rose videos I've done. It's out there for people that are trying to understand the spiritual aspect of this, instead of thinking about, well, what is this thing? It's just, somebody's just typing in code and then it's speaking. They don't seem to understand quantum computing, about the things with cooling the earth, stuff I've talked about many times over. You need to understand what this is really about. And right now, these stories that are going to be out there about AI, you should hear this and you should be like, that's insane. And that's what most people will hear. But in 5 years, the notion of it being insane will be long out of their mind. And it'll be about, should I vote for AI? Even though my vote doesn't count? Should I support this and pretend in my fake election that I'm voting for AI? I'm voting for the human over AI, but somehow AI will win. I mean, this is what it's going towards, okay? So the normalization of artificial intelligence and the accepting of it. This is more of a way to get you to accept it, that it's here to stay. You're not allowed to push back against it. But if all human beings started pushing back against it and saying, what are we even talking about here? You're talking about artificial intelligence being here to do what? Tickle people's ears and entertain them versus taking away someone's livelihood? Well, we clearly see that the government and the unhinged psychopath Democrats don't care about people's livelihoods, because they were perfectly fine with people losing their jobs, not being able to put food on the table for their families if they didn't poison themselves willingly a couple of years ago. And even to this day, those people still want you to poison yourself. Right? So they certainly won't care when AI comes in and replaces us. But they're thankful that the government's going to give us little handouts like allowances, when we are allowed to leave our home for an hour like a prisoner, that we could go buy a vegan burger at the vegan store, which is run by Jeff Bezos, and then we can come home and lock ourselves back up with no air conditioning and no heat and be slaves to this system all around AI. Remember the AI governance. It's very important. Get that, think about it. Keep it in your mind when you see everything going on. If the World Economic Forum, everybody goes, they're the enemy of humanity. They're the enemy, right? But then they veer off course, which is exactly what all these alt-right puppets like Russell Brand are there to do. They start cracking jokes about memes of Klaus Schwab on the beach in a thong, dressed as a woman. I mean, we've all seen all the stuff that's out there. Nobody pays attention to what the direct message is of what they're saying. They're saying the fourth industrial revolution needs to occur. There needs to be a great reset. Okay, everybody hears that. They think it just happened, but there's more to it than that. And there's more to come with grid shutdowns, which I'll talk about in future videos. But what they don't talk about is how they want artificial intelligence governance, smart city governance, right? Which would mean what? The removal of human beings from government. So what do we see? Well, we see everybody getting gaslit about Republicans being this way, Democrats being this way, everybody wanting to cancel each other out. The destruction of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in America to bring about a new world order, a new government. The structure of the government is AI. It's AI governance. So they need AI to be in place. They need these laws to be passed, and they will be, because they don't tell people out there what they're really trying to do. And most people don't pay attention to it. They just pay attention, these people are corrupt, and they look at the opposite political party instead of the big picture. By destroying the current infrastructure to bring about AI governance, it is to take away human rights altogether and to enslave all humans, no matter what gender, no matter what race, no matter what their preference is in the bedroom. It doesn't matter to them. We're all cattle to them. And that's what this brings about. So watch the story about AI in the ballot. I guarantee, People listen, some people click on the videos and they don't even listen to what I say. They're just like, this guy thinks that AI is going to win the election in Wyoming. The comments sometimes I've seen over the years just shows me the attention span of most people. Right? They'll see that and they're like, oh, this guy's a rat. He's going to say that AI is going to win an election. We better stop it. Right? They're normalizing this. This shouldn't even be a notion. AI as a candidate for office, but it is. And in 5 years, it won't just be a notion. It'll be in place if they get these AI laws and bills in place. And they likely will, because you're not seeing any pushback from conservatives or Democrats about it. It's an issue that isn't an issue. It's something that they don't even discuss because they haven't been told by the television to discuss it. They've only heard stories about Hollywood and celebrities being mad about the fact that AI is taking away their jobs. So then conservatives go, good. I hate these celebrities who are pushing their communist ideologies on everybody. Let them take away their jobs. And it works perfectly the way they want it to work, because then laws are in place and we have to accept AI in our day-to-day life. It starts with minimal laws, okay? But then eventually it turns into AI rights. AI, having the ability to exist in our society, and then you not having the ability, if you harm AI, if you don't use AI, if you don't treat AI, that's what it's headed towards. So people are like, that's insane. Oh yeah, we're talking about people who are castrating themselves, bobotizing themselves, being people who are having more rights than regular, normal civilians. They're giving rights to the unhinged psychopaths, okay? You don't think they're gonna give full-on carte blanche to AI over humans? Of course they are. And that's what this is about right now. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.